It's funny because like we'll get into these conversations, and I just think like,
What?
yeah, I think like, certain conversations are meant to be had between us, but other conversations, I'd love to hear what other people have to say, and I love the exchange here. So her and I are talking about catfishing and how, like me personally, I just feel zero sympathy for catfish people. I think you're so stupid if you get catfished, and
In this day and age, especially,
but
it's
I,
been exposed.
but it shouldn't even take that. I mean, how can you be in a relationship with someone that you don't know? How can you give that person money? I can't. If someone is that fucking good, if someone has that much game, how do you have that much game that you can fleece people out of money like that? Oh, I need money for this. But the biggest issue is so the one that we just saw, and then the one before that, I'd say 95% of the time, the person catfished is getting catfished by somebody way the fuck out of their league.
Now,
And you have to
I'd
ask
like
that
to know
person,
how many of those went on the sugar baby site, sugar daddy site,
no, no, it
and
doesn't.
got them, and then turn around and are saying, "But I was catfished."
No, I don't think that actually happens a lot. But I
Here,
think you have to look at it like, okay, so this girl is a 8, a 9, and you're
a three.
a 3, a 4.
But do you think you're a three or a four? That's a problem. A lot of people don't.
Life has already told you that. This is the year of honesty. 2025 is the year of honesty. So life has told you that. Have you had 8s and 9s and 10s in your life? Or are you've never had anything like that before, which is why you're being catfished in the first place, because you were desperately like, if you're an 8, a 9, and a 10, you're a 7, you're a 6, you're constantly, pushing away advances. You're constantly denying people. You know that you can, you know, like when I was in my younger days, I didn't want to hang out with your girlfriend. Why? Because there was a good chance something was going to happen, and I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to be put in that position. Your fucking hot girlfriend starts hitting on me or whatever. I knew there was reality there, especially if I was better looking than you. And you see this all the time with these people where, you know, it's like this person is a model. You see it a lot with the women too. The women that get catfished. The guy will be like, this dude, he's all jacked, and it's like, look at yourself and think how many guys who look like that have gone out with you before. What makes you think that guy is so hard up for a date that he's online instead of in person getting laid? And I see these catfish stories all the time, and you see these, these people that that get, taken for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't feel
After you
sorry for
lost
you.
20 bucks, like, wake up.
Right. That I bring the same story up all the time. But I was at the bar. It was 19 years old. I went to Canada. This girl started talking to me. I was like, "Oh, okay. Hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah." She was like, "You want to buy me a drink?" And I said, "Sure, okay." I didn't have a lot of money on me anyway. I was shocked by how much the drinks cost. And she took the drink and was like, "All right, thank you," and walked away. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Won't do that again." Like, I didn't have to get fucking, like go up to that girl and be like, "Hey, I bought you the drink. Aren't you going to talk to me?" Like, dude, she walked away. I must not have, I was totally unprepared for everything. So like I wasn't, and I never was cool. So I'm sure my
I
game.
don't know how, as that girl, I don't know how you do that to somebody. I could never do that to somebody.
You know,
I
who
would
knows?
feel so
Maybe
guilty.
her
Like,
friend did it. Maybe she was made a bet. Maybe who knows?
I could never do that to somebody.
I
It's
mean,
so
it's
fucking
not
rude.
about that. Like, so I had it happen before to me where, especially when I was up in northern Cal, and needless to say, I didn't do the bar scene very often because it was a small scene and
Everybody knew each other.
everybody knew each other, and like, and I was, the hot new candy, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I would go in and the girls would just be like, "What the fuck?" They're used to all these little Mexican guys, and I'm walking in like, "Hey, everybody," And of course, through the libations, I have been known to be kind of an asshole. Yeah. No, seriously. No, it's true. And in my 20s, guy was a.
Bigger asshole.
But I mean, you know, I
You
look.
were in Musk.
Not even that. I was me. I mean, it wasn't like I was some guy who was acting like I wasn't. Like, I was me. I was good at what I did, and you wouldn't be disappointed, and all those other things. So like I was confident, and what it was, especially when I looked around. But one time, especially, we were at this bar, and this girl was all over me, and she was like buying me drinks and stuff, and I was like, "What is going on?" And she was like, "Yeah, that guy over there keeps buying them." So, and or no, she was. It somehow came up, and I was like, "Why don't you go get me see if you can get me a drink?" And she went and got him to buy a drink, and like, then it was one of those guys, like, short guy with his shirt unbuttoned and a lot of gold, and he was like, he was just hoping
Throwing
that
all the shit at the wall.
I think that I would get her, that she would get drunk, she'd get all horny, and then when I left or whatever, he'd be there,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd get those scraps.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's got their thing, but like I don't feel like the whole catfish thing is such a weird thing. Those people are getting exactly what they want. They're paying for their imaginary girlfriend who's never like not what she's supposed to be, you know? She's never, your relationship is what it is. You want to be the knight in shining armor, so she's going to let you be, I need help. My electricity, my this, my that. I need some money. I need some money, and you're Rajiv. So that was the thing. We brought up Rajiv. Rajiv is this dude I went to elementary school with, and Rajiv was first generation American, parents fresh off the fucking plane, I guess. But like he was one of those Indian kids who spoke funny English because that was the English his parents spoke, you know. So he spoke. He
Did he
spoke. Yeah,
really?
when he was a kid, he spoke like a quickie store guy. Like, but
Oh
that's
my
just
god.
because that's how he learned how to speak. But like, as far as the genetic lottery goes, he lost.
Quite a bit.
No, I mean it's crazy, but it's like, let's be honest, dude. You're short, you're fat, you're bald from like here over, and he keeps the hair so it looks even worse. But he couldn't shave his head because he'd look even worse. Got glasses. He's got a
He's not attractive at all.
right. There's just he's got nothing going for him. And from what I could glean from his conversations, he has a pretty small dick too. And you just think like this dude. Now it's not fair because just because he looks like that doesn't mean he doesn't think the same Angelina Jolie is hot that I do, or whatever, whoever, whatever
He
name you want to
doesn't
insert.
even have any character,
Right, but that's the funny part is like
personality to back,
again we
make up for it.
but we you don't get it. You've never had a problem being with attractive people, getting attractive people. You were actually pushing attractive people away constantly. Like that's not something that like the situation between men and women is completely different. What we experience and what you guys experience is just it's miles different. You know, the go slay. There you go. The what it's like to be an attractive woman. I really wanna. I'd love to talk to someone like that. Like like my wife, it's fucking old, you know, and when she was young, she was a little hot thing, but she had issues. I'm talking about one of those. She wasn't like my wife was attractive, but wasn't stereotype like blonde hair, blue eye from a very young age. Treated a certain way. That's what I'm talking about. I'd love to talk to somebody like that. I want to know how life was for you. What's that like to live in that body? To know that like everybody wants to sleep with you. That's basically what it comes down to. You happen to be one of these chicks with a beautiful face and big tits. Like, how does that even happen? you know, that's it's got to be a weird existence to know that you could go to the bar with nothing in your pockets and have a great time. To know that people pay money just to be near you. It's got to be a different sort of feeling.
I was offered a condo in Florida.
Right, I know. I think you were more attractive than you think you are. But again, I can't interview like it's not the same. You're not in that world anymore. Old mom. Boring.
And then you gotta start with everything.
But like the whole idea that you're so pretty that you can just post pictures of yourself online and make a living doing it. You don't even have to do it. There's this one chick, I don't know her fucking name. Um, yeah, I have no idea. No idea what her fucking name is. But she just posts pictures of herself. And she's fucking amazing. And I just you know but at the same time, like if that chick starts hitting on me and like, hey, blah blah blah, I think you're really hot, but I'm gonna be like, are you out of your mind? You know? And then eventually starts asking me for money and shit. Like, how could I ever fall for that? Why would I ever think that's real? I'm realistic. I know exactly who's looking at this. Like, I see me. I'm an old dude. I'm an old dad. Been married for 20 years almost, and like it is what it like. I'm not fooling myself. But I watched that show, the Catfish show, and Neve. I can't stand Neve. And you see this a lot too in the show where like the person getting catfished will say, "Well, I thought it was real. I thought we had something." And nobody says, "Well, like how? How did you think it was real?"
What made you think that?
Right. Did that person give any what did you get from that person? And so much of the time you if you see like the communications, a lot of the time the person that's doing the catfishing, they don't really say that much. It's the person getting catfished who does all the talking. and then the other person will be like, yeah, okay, that's cool, and then it'll come up the money situation, and a lot of times they don't even like ask the the person getting catfish sort of offers it, but I don't have any sympathy for that shit. I'm so goddamn skeptical of everything, and we had a great example of it this weekend. My wife is talking about, like, we're gonna get this 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 charity organization is offering.
Oh, I thought you meant the homeless guy.
Oh no, free furniture. Come get these free couches, hide bed couches, blah 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 blah. You can get a free couch. So I'm immediately skeptical of this shit. I'm like, no, nobody gives away free shit. And she's like, no, they're free, they're brand new, they're supposed to be brand new, and which again makes me think, no, that's not right. But we have, you know, I'm so skeptical. I'm like, we got to look this up. She calls the hotel, and you know, it's all confirmed that it's not a scam. But I'm still like, there's just no fucking way this is real. So my father-in-law has a pickup truck. He comes out. We drive like an hour away to go get it. And we get in there, and as soon as we walk in, it's in a hotel. It's at a Holiday Inn Express. As soon as we walk in, and I see the couches like from across the room, I'm like, no, fuck, no way. So I they are these hotel couches, and they're old, and they're stained, and they're nasty, and you think, like, how many bed bugs are in these motherfuckers, and all, like, it's just. But it's like, I wasn't at all surprised. I would have been way more surprised if the shit was nice. I'm I just I don't feel like we got scammed or anything. I think my wife was kind of stupid on that one. But it was like, it is what it was. Everybody's allowed to be stupid sometimes. It happens. But it's like, there's nothing in my head that was like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. I'm so super excited. Like, we're going to get a brand new couch. It's going to be real nice. I knew it wasn't legit. And that's something small like that. I can't imagine some random person out of the blue, some really, really hot girl out of the blue starts, hey, what's going on? I really like, because I get those kind of messages, every so often I'll get this, you know,
Hey, baby.
like, hey, baby, you want to see my real pictures? Go to this page or something. Like, and it's like, that's how you're, that's how you're introducing yourself. Oh yeah, that's probably real. It's so stupid.
The fact that people fall for it is what's stupid.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's just mind blowing.
How do you? But see, that's what I'm saying. I think Neve. I think that show Catfished is the biggest catfish. They're tricking people into embarrassing themselves on TV so that they can get the ratings for this show. Because nobody's ever saying to them, like, are you out of your mind? Have you seen yourself? And they they push that notion that the person says, well, I thought we were in a relationship, or I thought we had something. And the other person's like, yeah, I never really said like anything to lead them on like that. I don't know why they thought that way. They just took things a lot more seriously than I did. But all those times when they wanted to hang out and I didn't hang out, or, this happened or that happened. There was the one that was like, you're saying I wasn't a priority for you to come see me when you were in town that day. And it's like,
happen?
No,
Any reboot?
no, somebody messaged me. I just, sorry. Yeah, I don't get it. I think it's people's arrogance is really bad, right? You just did. It really is about arrogance because it's about people, them wanting something to be something that it clearly isn't. So they're lying to themselves to achieve some fantasy. Right? Like it's really goofy. You if you've never actually dated like some of these times too, it's like it's a virgin or something and you're like, so you've never dated a girl. All the hot girls that you've ever come across in your life have been really kind of mean to you. And they wow, that's crazy. All the hot girls have been mean to you, but you think this one's real? And so you're giving her money left and right. Like you're paying for what you want. You're getting what you wanted out of the situation. You're getting the chick that always makes you feel good and gives you your, like I say, knight in shining armor thing. And you get what you want out of it. That's what all relationships are anyway. I can't imagine like maybe I would lose a decent relationship because of it, but I would if I couldn't see you talk to you or whatever, like why would I bother? Like if you start acting weird and then start asking for money and shit, why would I ever? How do you? That's just not why. That's not how relationships are. And you, like I say, you hear the things these people say, and you read the interactions, and it's always, they're sitting there talking about their day, and they're bitching about the people that they saw that day, and their boss, and their this, and their that, and the other person just, yeah, that other person is being there for them. And what's that worth? While that person is otherwise just gonna sit in their room and feel sorry for themselves or something like that. This way, they're getting to talk to somebody. They feel good. I mean, they're getting something out of it. I don't feel bad for the catfished. I don't feel bad for most people that get scammed. Like I get that, like to some degree, I get that old people can get tricked by certain phone calls or whatever. But it's 2025. It was one thing 20, 30 years ago when the internet was new and shit like that. But nowadays,
a lot of it, they don't even realize that something like that could happen. It has outgrown them. Like,
yeah.
And that's what happens. Like, I didn't even know somebody could do something like that. Because they just they can't fathom it because they have no idea it even exists.
Yeah, but it's 2025. And you should know these things.
But who's there to teach them?
They're
We're
kids.
not helping our elderly.
Yeah, but and that's to some degree that's on the family and whatnot. But like I say, like I don't know, like if somebody with an Indian accent calls you and they're like, "Grandma, you know, I have been arrested, Grandma." You're like, "Is this Johnny?" "Yes, this is Johnny." Like, it's all silly. I mean, I don't even answer numbers I don't recognize. Sure, I miss out on shit, I guess, but you know, uh, that's what voicemail's for. But Neve's obviously a J, and he's awful. He really is an awful person. And I watch this show all the time, and I feel like the biggest exploiters is the show. and the biggest enablers. And I don't know why the comments aren't working. Sorry. Um, but the way that it's just an example of you know them taking advantage of us and laughing at us. And Neve acts like he cares, and he doesn't. Every single person on that show that gets busted, that gets exposed as being someone that got catfished, they're gonna get it again. They don't learn their lesson. They're made to look like the victim and all that shit. If anything, once that show comes out, they're probably getting catfished left and right.
They were just exposed as targets.
Right. When I used to do door-to-door meat sales, the shady fucker that ran that company told me, we were driving through, and he was like, go knock that door. And I'm like, but it has a no soliciting sign. And he's like, yeah, you know why that sign's there? Because the husband got mad one day and put that on the wall, on the door, because salesman kept coming by and getting his dumbass wife to buy shit when he wasn't home. And I was like, you know what? That makes a lot of fucking sense, actually. Because it's like the people that'll be like, why did you tag me in this thing? And you go, are you mad that you were tagged on something? Like, when you go out in your front yard, is there a thing that says you were tagged so everybody can see it? Or like, you were tagged in something. What do you care? Get over yourself. It's the same sort of scenario. It's the same concept. Like, people are just the arrogance. It's all arrogance. Our arrogance is overwhelming. Our arrogance is overwhelming. We are, the way that we think about things, the whole concept of Jesus and all that. You think the God that makes the world work, that makes the universe work, changes his mind because you ask him nicely. Because really, it's we don't talk about it, but like, you're basically praying that if God, if it's not God's plan for your thing to work out, and he had something else planned, that he hears you begging and changes, well, it hears you begging and it changes its mind. That's basically what you're praying for. You realize that, right? Like, that's what prayers are. You're like, I know, God, you are infallible, and everything you do and say is part of some great big plan and blah, blah, blah. But just in case you hadn't planned on giving me that job, can you please give me that job? I need it more than anybody else that applied for it, even though I don't know what their situations are. Like, do you realize how stupid you are? They've tricked you into thinking that religion is the absence of ego, and it's completely the opposite. Religion is 100% ego. You have to have an incredible ego to believe anything anything about that shit. It's all just stupid J nonsense. It really is. And it's there to, like, you talk to anybody. There are very few people out there that believe that they don't know everything. There are very few people out there that think they could be wrong about things. And I know people, oh, that's you. Is it? Do you really think I, like, just magically got here? Just magically one day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to think the Jays are the bad guys. And
if anybody's a product of immaculate conception, it's you. So yes,
it's true. It's true.
You and Jeebus.
But it's like, I had to be wrong to get here in the first place. I was told that I'm not allowed to talk about the Jays, and and I subscribed to that. They were off limits, and hey man, you can't say that. I played that game. It wasn't until I reluctantly, heard this and looked at that and saw, and my wife's an even better example because she's a nicer person than I am. And she's one of those people that it's up here. No,
Yes. Here, give him the bowl too. No, the shovel.
here, hang on a second, dude. Ah.
You can dump those in the garbage first.
I mean, it's a crazy shit that the whole narrative is just the arrogance that covers everything. It's why we can't get better. We can't. Nobody wants to be wrong. Everybody feels like they're attacked. And it's really crazy how like nobody can be wrong, but nobody, like, if you ask people about their shit, you ask them, why do you think this way? Why do you believe this way? They say, they can't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. My wife has told me she doesn't want to talk about it with me because she knows I don't agree. So I'm just looking to pull things apart. And it's like, I'm not looking to pull things apart, but if what you're saying has holes in it, at least as far as I'm concerned, I can't just go, okay, well, I just saw a real big hole in what you're saying, but I'm not going to focus on it because, reasons. I want to say, hey, I kind of see a hole. Am I missing something? Is there something I'm getting wrong? Because this kind of seems off to me. And it makes it difficult. I mean, I get it. Like, I think about it like I feel bad for my wife. If she wants to believe in something like that, then I feel bad that she's stuck with me. Because, anybody in a partnership situation, you want to be with somebody that thinks the same way you do. When my wife and like her best friend or one of her best friends and her husband, they're both way into the same shit. And it makes it a lot more fun. Makes there's a connection there and they get to do things together and they're into the same shit. And why wouldn't, of course you want to be into the same shit. If I can give any young couple or any young person one piece of advice when it comes to relationships, it's make sure you guys like the same TV shows. Because what you'll end up doing more than anything is sitting around watching TV. And if you guys like the same TV shows, it'll be a lot better than if one person likes, like, if one person likes something the other person hates and vice versa, that makes for a very difficult situation. So as like nobody's gonna tell you that. Nobody's gonna tell. They're gonna be like, make sure that you have the same politicals and you have the ability to this and that, and if you haven't fight, you can do this, and make sure you like the same TV shows. That shit's huge, huge. But like you know, it's difficult. I mean, it's all difficult. Life is really difficult, and the relationship thing. Like I say, I feel bad for my wife because she won't admit it, but it's I think things have gotten harder for her. And again, I'm not asking you to get in on the conversation or anything. I'm just saying my perspective. If I'm wrong, okay. If you feel like saying something, okay. I'm not knocking anything. I'm not. But I know my wife is smart. She's smarter than most of you. And it was interesting hearing her talk to her friend the other day. Because her friend is much more like it's her friend, and they're in that same where they're friends because they're in that same world. They're in that spiritual, pagan witch kind of world, rocks and all that other stuff. So that's basically like the foundation of their friendship. And to hear me, I mean, it was me coming out of it. And I know it's her, and I know she thinks that way. Blah 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 blah. But the things coming out of her mouth were things that if I was saying them to her, she would she'd disagree. Like she wouldn't. We would argue. But then to hear her saying it, and I try to be like empathetic, and I think like, okay, so if I'm her and I do see things that way, it has to be hard to maintain, you know, like when you realize like, yeah, dude, just leave it down there, please.
I don't need it. They're right here. I don't need it. Keep it downstairs.
The um if it was me and like if somebody did that to me, right? If you somehow you made like some really good points about the Jays and how great they are, and that I was mistaken. From that point on, I would have a hard time if I like if I even could do it, saying those things again. Once I accept that it might not be true, I'm not going to say it anymore. A great example, going back to the meat sale, the door-to-door meat guys. I was one of the best guys at that job, slanging meat until I ate the shit and got sick. And once I knew that it could get you as sick as I was, and like I think I was death's door sick. I was maybe E. coli sick. Like kids and old people would have died from what I had. If who is to say that the night that I ate that food, because we had probably drank so much, that's probably what saved me, you know?
All that alcohol killing you.
Right. Because I still got crazy sick, but I know we had gotten smashed that night. And knowing that it could get people sick, I don't think I ever successfully sold another box of meat after that. I went to work. Once I got better, I went to work, but I did like maybe a day, maybe even half a day, and was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. It's just not. I'm not that person. Once I don't believe it anymore, I can't push it on you. And the only reason I'm this good at what I do is because I wholeheartedly believe what I say. I don't think anybody thinks I'm putting on a show. I think you guys all understand, like, this is how I am in real life. I'm always going to tell the truth. Well, that's not true. If I give a shit, I'll tell the truth. If I don't give a shit, I'll just get up and walk away. I don't necessarily need to get into it. I used to maybe get into it a lot more than I would now, for sure. But nowadays, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, if you bring up your shit, then you must be wanting to talk about it. And I don't know, maybe I'm just curious. I always want to know what people know. You have the balls to bring up some Jesus to me. Well, I'm hoping you actually know some shit. Let's see what you know. Are you just making small talk? What are you doing here? People are strange, man. But that it goes back to that whole catfish thing. Like, why could you? I don't know. I end up feeling like an alien. Like I could never troll people. It's the same shit. Like I just, that's life to you. To
Sit
try to
there and try to make fun of somebody for no fucking reason.
or try to interfere with like because I mean it's not like you're successfully. I flat out tell you guys like I appreciate it. I'd be bummed out if you weren't here. But I know there are people out there that really get offended, and you hear about these stories about these really like shallow, weird people who, you know, hurt themselves, end themselves because people tease them too much or whatever. And you just think that's possible, and you would do that to people. I love yelling stuff out the window at people when I'm driving. At least I used to. Just goofy shit. My favorite is you drop something and then to watch people look for the thing they didn't drop. That's hilarious to me. But it's because it's nothing mean. My like I always think like you driving and you see the fat girl, you know, waddling her fat ass down the street, and you're like, yeah, fat girl. How do you know like your comment isn't the one that's gonna make her quit? She was really out there, really trying. You know, she had overcome everything. She's really fucking. And then you say something and you just break that will. Obviously, she makes bad decisions if she's like that to begin with. But why would you ever want to do that to somebody? It's so easy. I always tell my kids, like, don't take the easy road. You'll never hear me make J jokes about how goofy they look or anything like that, other than their like penguin suits and shit. But I don't focus on like the stereotype stupid shit because it's easy. Why would I focus in on the easy stuff? I'm too smart to focus in on easy. Men of culture. There is no God, man. Come on. We have to be better than that. Even the people that are like, no, we are our own gods. If we were our own gods, if I was any bit of a god, do you understand how many pedophiles would be dead? First of all, I'd be walking around like Magneto, floating and shit. Ooh. But secondly, I'd just be killing pedos left and right. Dinkle, dinkle, dink, dinkle, dinkle, dink, tinkle, dinkle, dink. We have to be better than that. Nobody nobody's like, I don't want to say nobody's better than, because I absolutely think there are better people out there than others. And that's part of the honesty thing. Like, why can't we say that? I always think it's just strange. Like, if Usain Bolt says he's faster than you, are you going to be like, oh, fucking arrogant douche, blah, blah, blah? If Usain Bolt says that, huh?
Yeah, how dare he?
Right. If Usain Bolt says, I'm better than you, if you're like an accountant, and Usain Bolt's like, I'm better at math than you, then you're going to be like, hey, Dick, I'm pretty good. I'm an accountant. I know you can run fast, but that arrogance isn't going to fly. And I think it's the same thing here. I don't, especially if you're younger than me, I don't think I could like beat you in basketball and shit. Maybe I could have years ago, but not anymore. If you're a tax guy, I definitely don't think I'm better with numbers than you are. But when it comes to this J stuff, I got you. And I think when it comes to this, I think I'm really good at this life thing. At least seeing it and offering a perspective. Obviously, I can only do, like in my situation, this is what I was talking to my buddy about. Like, at the end of the day, you only have to answer to yourself. I know your wife situation, sad, blah, blah, blah. I get it. It sucks. I hear you. But I'm, you know, I'm in a situation where I have to Like I have a 50% partner here, you know, who's actually more like 75% because blah blah blah. But I just, when you don't have anybody to answer to, you don't have that excuse. You could be doing anything. If I was if I was single and young and all that, I would move to California and try to become an actor. I would well, why wouldn't you try to do that? That's the life we all want to live, right? We all want to live that bazillionaire life and shit. But I guess we're all seeing what it really takes now, aren't we? People don't have to agree with you, but blah blah blah. See, again, I'm so tired of the paragraph bullshit where you're telling me nothing. It's so stupid. If you're gonna say something, just absolutely say something. Say something. Don't tell me why people just don't listen because you just don't. Blah, blah. Shut up. You're so goofy. You sound like a a hurt girlfriend. Well, back to the crack again. Like, think about this. Can you imagine watching somebody smoke crack for hours? Wouldn't What would that say about you if that's what you like? I wait for this one guy who smokes crack to go live because he smokes crack and he's crazy, and I like to go in and tell him he's crazy and says he's on crack. I watch him. He like what? It's just stupid. It does make sense. It does make sense. It's a stupid. It's stupid. We say it doesn't make sense a lot of times when we mean it's stupid. Because that's what no, it makes sense in a very stupid way. Like if you're a dumb Jay who is desperately trying to make me look bad, but you don't have the capability to argue anything I'm saying, what do you do? What are they going to do? What could they possibly start saying? Well, they're going to randomly start trying to talk about me. They're going to randomly start trying to make me look bad and randomly this. And it does make sense. Especially when like if I make mistakes about my math or I make mistakes, they'll jump in and tell me I made a mistake. Shit, the other day somebody corrected me because I numbered the show wrong, and they were like, "Isn't it supposed to be?" And I was like, "Geez, you're paying more attention to the number of shows than I am. Like that's fantastic of you. Thank you." And like if I was just looking from an outside perspective to see that if I said I watched some guy make all these points and sort of deconstruct the reality and talk shit about this, talk shit about that. And then I watched as people continuously made stupid comment after stupid comment. They're clearly mad, but they're much more concerned with him than the big picture that he's talking about. I'm gonna think like, why aren't these people addressing what he's saying? Like that would just be. I mean, if it was in a live setting, if I was in if I was doing presentation like a TED talk or something, and then at the end I opened the floor, and I was like, all right, do you have any questions about anything I've said, or you think I'm wrong about anything? And people stood up and they were like, you should shave your beard. Like what? Okay, like thanks.
Thank you.
And then another person stand up and says, You should shave your beard. It's like, did you not? I was like, like, you understand that this is about asking questions and trying to, and everybody in the place would. No, we're gonna eat dinner in a few. And everybody in the place. Why don't you get in the shower, dude? Why don't you get in the shower? Okay, then go back out.
Who is?
Yeah, well, Rosie should wear her jacket. She's pretty dumb. You know, I you know, I'm on a journey to try to be the best me I can be. I'm not insecure. I don't have a problem with being wrong. Again, I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't have been wrong a bunch of times beforehand. If you would have thought me 10 years ago, there's no way I would have said I'm not going to believe the earth is round. And up until 2 months ago, not even a month ago, for me to say that I think that the religious story makes more sense than the science story, the Big Bang story, that I never thought I would say that. Never in my would you have ever thought you'd have heard me say that shit?
Yeah.
Never. But that doesn't mean I think the religious story is real. That just means I was wrong about the Big Bang that I don't think I ever really believed in, because it was always dumb to begin with. Like, it's such a stupid thing. It really is embarrassingly stupid. And you know, do you ever think about it, or do you just believe it? I think that's what it comes down to with everything, is that we just believe what we're shown. And going back to what I was trying to talk about, the catfish. Yes, I was trying to talk about the catfish thing, but you guys can't talk about that. You don't. I guess again, you have no opinions on the actual thing being talked about. But it's this need, this want to believe the illusions that we create. I mean, everybody that believes whatever you believe, you only believe it because you want to. You don't have any reason to believe it. You don't have any proof. You don't, like, all of you Jesus God people. You literally believe some nonsense that I don't even think you believe it. The reality is you don't believe it. Let's be real. If you thought that there was a legitimate chance that you were going to go to hell when you died if you didn't follow this very specific set of rules, would you really fucking do it? Would you really break those rules? Hell for all of eternity. No? You don't believe that shit. You just want to feel better. And it's that same mentality of like everybody has been catfished by the church. Isn't that crazy? You give the church your money, they're selling you this fake idea, this bullshit. Oh, don't hate. Eventually, you're gonna meet the person on the other end of this. Don't worry, you're gonna meet the Jesus. Don't worry, it'll be great when you do too. Oh man, it's gonna be so awesome. You'll be like coming down a water slide, and when you get to the bottom, it'll be like everybody in your family, all your relatives and shit, they'll be waving at you and smiling. And then you get to meet Jesus. Oh man, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. I can't believe it. Religion's the ultimate catfish. I never thought about it that way, but it absolutely is.
I'm gonna put the stuff on slowly and then go get the Danish. If you could do the rice, big fence west.
You crazy, dog.
Don't you tell me I'm crazy.
I just did. Like We just believe what we want to believe. And it's strange how we want to believe bad. We want to believe dumb.
Think
You
the
know?
gas station will take us?
No. I mean, if he's not paying attention, but you wouldn't want to do that then.
He's got to put the thing in there.
Right. But they have to do it. My dog ate my homework. I just think it's crazy, man. I think.
Animals must be hungry too, Daddy.
Okay. Oh yeah, jeez. All right. Well, I got too much to do. Wasn't expecting to be live again anyway, so go ahead, go get your free download. www.the-builderberg-group.com. Links will be in the description. It's free. Share it with someone. Have a great night. Pedophiles, kill yourself. You, get up, go.